My name is Greg Heffley, and let me tell you, life in middle school is like navigating a maze blindfolded, especially when you score the worst locker in the history of lockers. Seriously, this thing is practically ancient. It's dented, rusty, and jammed shut most days. And if that wasn't bad enough, my locker happens to be right next to the school bully, Derek Dunn's. Derek is huge, like seriously gigantic. He's got this booming laugh that sounds like a monster truck crashing through a pile of metal. Every day he slams my locker shut when I'm trying to grab my books. It's like he knows how much it bugs me. The other kids, they don't get it. They don't understand why I get so worked up about a stupid locker. They just tell me to chill out or find a different locker. Easy for them to say. They don't have to deal with Derek the locker slammer every single day. It's not just the locker though, it's everything. It's the way people look at me like I'm invisible. It's the whispers I hear in the hallway. It's the feeling that I just don't belong. One day, I was stuffing some crumpled papers into my locker when a yellow envelope fell out. It had my name on it, handwritten in fancy cursive. No way this was for me. I looked around, but everyone was gone. Curiosity got the best of me, and I opened it. Inside was a letter. It said I was invited to a meeting. A meeting about a family matter. A family matter concerning a huge inheritance. What in the world? I reread the letter, my heart pounding. It mentioned a law firm downtown and said it was urgent. I showed the letter to my parents that night. They were just as surprised as I was. My dad almost choked on his mashed potatoes. He kept saying, "This can't be right." My mom turned pale. She kept looking at me like she'd never really seen me before. The next day we went to the address on the letter. It was a giant building made of glass and steel. Inside, everything was shiny and expensive looking. We met with a serious-looking lady in a suit. She had my name on a file folder. This was really happening. The lady explained everything. Turns out I had a great-great-uncle I never knew about. He was some kind of business tycoon, and he left his entire fortune to me. Me, the kid with the lousy locker and the bully problem. The lady took us to see my inheritance. It wasn't just money, it was a mansion. A gigantic, ridiculous mansion with a swimming pool, a bowling alley, and a room full of arcade games. My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe my eyes. This place was insane. We walked through the mansion and I couldn't stop touching things. Everything was so fancy and perfect. The lady showed me my room. It was bigger than my entire house. It had a king-size bed, a flat-screen TV, and a walk-in closet the size of a small grocery store. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. I was rich. I had everything I ever wanted. But something felt weird. I thought about Derek and the other kids at school. Would they treat me differently now? Would they be jealous? Would they still be my friends? The next day at school, I decided to keep my newfound fortune a secret. I didn't want things to change. But it was hard to act normal when I knew I had a bowling alley in my basement. I kept picturing Derek's face when he found out his locker neighbor was a millionaire. Something strange happened, though. Without even trying, I started to feel different, more confident, more sure of myself. Maybe it was the secret. Maybe it was the mansion. Whatever it was, I felt like I could handle anything. Even Derek's locker slams didn't bother me as much. One day I even stood up to him. I told him to cut it out. He was taken aback. He just stared at me for a second, then walked away. I guess he wasn't used to me talking back. Life was still complicated, but I was starting to figure things out. I knew money couldn't buy happiness, but it sure could buy a really cool bowling alley. And maybe, just maybe, it could buy a little bit of confidence along the way.